really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Early on, with the first couple injuries, I was like, oh, like I need to get back. I'm gonna go to every road game, no matter what, like whether I'm playing.
The tension inside the Indiana Fever camp was already sky high, but Caitlin Clark's bombshell announcement just blew the roof off. With one calm sentence, she told her teammates she was coming back to play, instantly leaving Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull frozen somewhere between disbelief, joy, and a full-on adrenaline surge. Could this be the miracle spark the team's been starving for, or the start of a wild new saga? The internet's losing it, analysts are scrambling, and every basketball insider swears this moment could rewrite the Fever's season. Here's how the chaos exploded and why it's got everyone talking. Inside the Phoenix Mercury training gym, the air was so tense you could slice it with a whistle. Sneakers squealed across polished wood. Every bounce echoed like a countdown. Then boom, the words dropped. Sophie Cunningham, known for her fire and fearless grind, froze mid-drill. She blinked, stunned, before blurting, "Wait, what?" across the gym. It wasn't some rehearsed media moment. It was raw disbelief. She'd already braced for months of carrying extra weight without Caitlin Clark. New lineups, new pressure, new leadership. She was ready to grind through all of it. But now, that entire plan just got flipped upside down. But now, that one stunning announcement had flipped Sophie Cunningham's entire mindset upside down. Before she could even process it, Lexie Hull jumped in, though her reaction couldn't have been more different. While Sophie exploded like a firecracker, Lex's shock spread slowly, almost cinematic, like sunrise cutting through fog. A grin crept across her face, her eyes glowing with that dangerous kind of excitement only a true competitor gets. "This changes everything," she said softly, but it landed like a mic drop. You could practically see the gears turning as she pictured new plays, open lanes, and Caitlin Clark's return unlocking their offense like a cheat code. Lexie shook her head in disbelief, still chasing the reality of it all. Their reactions weren't media polished, they were raw, electric, impossible to fake. No cameras, no PR lines, just the truth. In that instant, something unspoken connected them. The climb ahead for the Phoenix Mercury, once steep and uncertain, suddenly looked different. Hope cracked through the pressure. Caitlin's comeback wasn't just another roster update. It was a pulse of momentum, a surge of belief that maybe, just maybe, this season could turn from survival to something unforgettable. Sophie could already feel it. Fast breaks, wild passes, pure chaos. And she was ready. She knew her role might shift once again, but for the first time in weeks, it didn't feel like pressure. It felt like possibility. Lexie Hull's thoughts, meanwhile, were racing faster than a fast break. She could already picture the roar of the crowd when Caitlin Clark stepped onto the floor, the sparks of chemistry, the clutch plays that could flip games on their heads. The idea alone sent a rush through her veins. This wasn't just a tweak in plans. It was a rewrite of their entire season before tip-off even arrived. As the gym buzzed back to life, balls echoing, sneakers slicing across the floor, something intangible filled the air. It was more than excitement. It was that eerie sense that fate had just changed direction. So, what exactly triggered that jaw-dropping reaction from Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull? When did it happen? And why was the moment so electric? Let's rewind. The day had started like any other inside the Phoenix Mercury's pristine training facility. The air was thick with the mix of floor polish, sweat, and ambition, the usual perfume of professional grind. Basketballs thudded against the glossy court in perfect rhythm, sneakers screeched with precision, and coaches barked orders that cut through the noise. Sophie Cunningham thrived in that chaos, eyes locked, movements razor-sharp, hunting perfection like a predator zeroing in on its next shot. Every pass, every shot, every defensive slide from Sophie Cunningham carried the weight of someone obsessed with perfection. She didn't do halfway, ever. Every drill felt like a championship moment, every rep a chance to prove she was built for this. A few feet over, Lexie Hull matched that energy move for move, her ponytail snapping with every pivot, her focus laser-sharp. She wasn't just practicing, she was plotting victory. No shortcuts, no coasting, no excuses. Sweat poured, lungs burned, but the fire stayed alive. It was their ritual, their grind, their version of normal, until it wasn't, because suddenly something in the air shifted. The rhythm of bouncing balls dulled, conversations faded, and for a heartbeat, time itself hesitated. That's when Caitlin Clark appeared. For weeks, her absence had been the quiet storm hovering over everything, a superstar-sized question mark in the middle of the Phoenix Mercury's dreams. The phenom who'd stolen headlines and fan hearts alike had been gone too long. Whispers of her comeback flickered on and off like rumors in a storm, never certain, always electric. And now there she was. No spotlight, no grand reveal, just a calm walk across the gym, carrying that signature smile that somehow said everything without saying a word. The light from the high windows hit her just right, outlining her like she was stepping straight out of a highlight reel. Sophie Cunningham spotted her first. Mid-defensive shuffle, her gaze darted toward the doorway, and everything slowed, just for a beat. Her brows lifted, asking a silent question that needed no words. Lexie Hull noticed next. One dribble, two, then pause. The ball stopped cold in her hands as her eyes locked onto Caitlin Clark. She didn't speak, but her face said everything. Something about Caitlin was different. Not the uncertain, cautious version they'd grown used to. No, this was something sharper. The way she stood, the spark in her eyes. It radiated confidence, the kind that makes the air feel charged. Around them, the gym kept moving, coaches barking, players grinding. But for Sophie and Lexie, the world had already shifted. That small, knowing smile on Caitlin's face wasn't casual. It was a signal, a storm warning wrapped in calm. Neither of them knew what was about to drop, but they could feel it building. The ordinary afternoon they'd walked into was suddenly electric, humming with possibility. And the second that tension broke, everything changed, for the better. So what exactly happened next? The moment everyone's still talking about, the shock heard around the court. The Phoenix Mercury's training gym fell eerily still. Only the faint hum of lights and the soft squeak of sneakers echoed through the silence. Caitlin Clark had called for a full team meeting, and that alone sent curiosity through the roof. She wasn't the type to summon people unless it mattered. Sophie Cunningham walked in cool and collected, arms crossed, leaning against the wall, mind already spinning with guesses. Maybe an injury update, a recovery plan, or some shift in her training. Maybe even a career twist, coaching, retirement, something wild. Her face stayed calm but alert, confident she had it figured out. Across the room, Lexie Hull sat perched on a folding chair, elbows on her knees, eyes locked on Caitlin, studying every move like she was reading the pregame script before it was written. Lexie Hull wasn't the type to jump to conclusions, but even she could feel it, the tension in the air crackling like a storm about to break. Caitlin Clark stood before them, hands clasped behind her back, scanning the room with calm authority. No nervous shifting, no second guessing, just that quiet, magnetic confidence that demands silence before a single word is spoken. She drew in one deliberate breath, letting the suspense simmer. Then, with a faint, knowing smile, she finally said it. "I've decided." Her tone was steady, but carried that dangerous edge of excitement that makes hearts race. The room froze. Sophie Cunningham raised an eyebrow, ready for anything. Lexie's eyes locked in like a sniper. Then it hit. "I'm playing again." The words detonated like thunder. For 2 whole heartbeats, nobody breathed. The silence was so thick it felt alive. Sophie's jaw actually dropped. Not her usual sly smirk or playful surprise, but genuine, wide-eyed disbelief. She looked like someone had just flipped her world inside out. Lexie blinked fast, trying to process. And then that slow, astonished grin spread across her face. Half shock, half pure joy. It was the kind of reaction you only give when the universe hands you the best plot twist of the season. The two locked eyes, and in that split-second glance, a whole wordless conversation flashed between them. Sophie Cunningham's look screamed, "Did she just say that?" While Lexie Hull's sly grin fired back, "Oh, she definitely did." The room erupted. Some players leaned back in disbelief. A few gasped. and others broke into stunned laughter. In the middle of it all, Caitlin Clark stood steady, that confident smile tugging wider. She knew exactly what she'd just unleashed. This wasn't just a personal comeback. The entire Phoenix Mercury practice facility transformed. A heartbeat earlier, it was all squeaks, drills, and routine sweat. Now, the place buzzed with raw, unstoppable energy. Sophie Cunningham, the team's walking spark plug, couldn't sit still. She started pacing the sideline, sneakers tapping like drum beats, her mind racing ahead. In her head, everything was already different. Passes cleaner, rotations sharper, highlights inevitable. Every play she imagined ended in momentum and magic. A few feet away, Lexie Hull stood frozen in the best way possible. Her eyes gleamed with that rare clarity. She wasn't just seeing a returning teammate. She was watching their entire system evolve in real time. Her imagination lit up. Perfect feeds slicing through defenders, wide open threes splashing. Caitlin Clark turning impossible angles into scoring chaos. For Lexie, this wasn't addition, it was ignition. What made it all hit deeper was that neither woman was reacting just as a fan or friend. They were responding as leaders. Both instantly understood the magnitude, the strategy shift, the morale boost, the statement it sent to the league. The Phoenix Mercury weren't just planning to compete anymore. They were gearing up to take over, because Caitlin's return meant more than one player stepping back on the floor. It screamed belief in the system, the chemistry, and the vision that this team could rise higher than anyone expected. That kind of confidence spreads like wildfire. From that day on, practices felt different. Every drill had bite. Every scrimmage had purpose. This wasn't preseason anymore. It was the prologue of a comeback story in the making. One built on grit, trust, and a spark that could light up the entire league. And while no stat sheet could possibly measure it, one thing was undeniable. The energy inside the Indiana Fever camp was off the charts. But Caitlin Clark's latest revelation? That took it straight into legend.